The house stood alone, isolated, a monument to forgotten dreams on a street steeped in history. Benefit Street, once vibrant, now subdued. The house, a twisted, looming figure against the setting sun. Its windows, vacant eyes staring out at the world. It had always been there as far as anyone could remember, a relic of a bygone era, whispering tales of grandeur and despair. Each brick, every chipped piece of paint spoke of years gone by, years etched in sorrow, in secrets buried deep. The air around the house crackled with an unseen energy. A cold shiver ran down your spine just looking at it. A sense of dread, heavy and oppressive, clung to the building like cobwebs. The house was a shroud, a veil between the living and something else, something ancient, something hungry. My name is Arthur Blackwood, a historian they call me. Drawn to the echoes of the past, to the stories whispered in the shadows. The house on Benefit Street called to me, its silence a siren song. My grandfather, a collector of forgotten lore, had filled my childhood with tales of the house, tales of a family destroyed, of a darkness that consumed all it touched. Now, armed with my grandfather's journal and a thirst for the truth, I stood on the house's doorstep. The oak beneath my hand was rough, cold, like the touch of death itself. The scent of damp earth and decay wafted from within. I took a breath, steeling myself. This house, this place of sorrow, held the key to a past I was determined to uncover. I pushed the door open. The air inside was stagnant, heavy with the weight of ages. Dust motes danced in the faint slivers of light that pierced the gloom. The scent of decay intensified, a cloying, sweet aroma that spoke of things forgotten. The house groaned around me, the sound of settling wood and creaking floorboards. Each step I took was an echo in the silence, a disturbance in the heart of the unknown. I felt a presence here, a coldness that seeped into my bones, a feeling of being watched. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision, twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes. The whispers started, soft at first, then growing louder. Voices from the past, trapped within these walls. They seemed to beckon me forward, deeper into the house's embrace. I pressed on, my hand trembling as I reached for the lantern hanging on the wall. The flame flickered to life, casting a flickering circle of light that only intensified the shadows around me. The house was a labyrinth of darkened hallways and dusty rooms. Cobwebs clung to every surface, thick and grey like shrouds. Portraits of long-dead eyes followed my every move. Each room I entered held a story, a fragment of the past frozen in time. A child's nursery, toys scattered across the floor. A formal dining room, the table set for a meal never eaten. A library, its shelves lined with leather-bound volumes, their pages filled with forgotten knowledge. The air grew colder as I descended deeper into the house. The whispers intensified, swirling around me like a vortex of despair. They spoke of betrayal, of madness, of a darkness that consumed all it touched. They spoke of a family torn apart, of a secret buried deep within the heart of the house. My grandfather's journal spoke of a hidden room, a place where the family's darkest secrets were kept. I clutched the journal tightly, my heart pounding in my chest. The truth, I knew, lay somewhere in this house, and I was determined to find it. Section 5, A Child's Nightmare. A sudden gust of wind slammed a door shut behind me. The sound reverberated through the silent house, a jarring intrusion in the oppressive stillness. I spun around, my pulse quickening. I found myself in a child's nursery. A rocking horse stood frozen mid-gallop in the center of the room. Its once bright paint was chipped and faded, its glassy eyes staring vacantly ahead. A chill ran down my spine. The air here felt different, colder, heavier. On the wall, a child's drawings hung askew. Crayon scribbles of a family, their smiles wide and unsettling. But one figure stood out, drawn in a dark, angry red, a towering figure with glowing eyes. Below it, scrawled in a child's hand, were the words, "He's coming." A low growl echoed from the corner of the room. My blood ran cold. I turned slowly, my heart pounding in my chest. The growl came again, closer this time. Terror gripped me, rooting me to the spot. Section 6, the attic's embrace. I ran, through darkened hallways, past staring portraits, their eyes boring into my back. The whispers followed, urging me onward, deeper into the heart of the house. The air grew colder, the scent of decay overwhelming. I could hear it now, whatever it was, heavy footsteps, slow and deliberate, hunting me, the attic. My grandfather's journal mentioned a hidden room in the attic. That's where I had to go. I burst into the attic, my breath catching in my throat. The room was a cavernous space, filled with the discarded remnants of a family's history. Trunks overflowed with clothes and toys, their contents spilling out onto the dusty floor. Cobwebs hung from every rafter, catching the faint light filtering in from the grimy window. The footsteps were closer now, just beyond the attic door. Panic welled up inside me. There was nowhere left to run. Section 7, Echoes of Terror. The attic door creaked open, the sound like fingernails scraping across a chalkboard. I shrank back into the shadows, my heart pounding against my ribs. The footsteps stopped just outside the door, silence, then a low growl, guttural and filled with menace. It was in the room with me now. I could feel its presence, cold and predatory. The air crackled with unseen energy. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. I held my breath, listening for any sound, any clue to the creature's whereabouts. Silence pressed in on me, thick and heavy. Then a floorboard creaked. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing myself for the inevitable. The growl came again, closer this time, right next to me. I opened my eyes. I screamed. Standing before me, its eyes burning with a cold, malevolent light, was a creature out of nightmares. Its skin was stretched taut over a skeletal frame. Claws, razor-sharp, glinted in the dim light. It lunged. I threw myself to the side, scrambling back on my hands and knees. The creature slammed into the spot where I had been a moment before, its claws tearing at the empty air. I scrambled to my feet, backing away slowly. The creature stalked towards me, its movements fluid, almost graceful. It was toying with me, savoring my terror. I could smell its breath now, a fetid stench of decay and death. My back hit a wall. There was nowhere left to run. The creature lunged again, its claws outstretched. It struck the wall inches from my face, its claws scraping against the brick. I closed my eyes, waiting for the end, but it never came. I opened my eyes to see the creature frozen, its attention focused on something behind me. Slowly, I turned to see what had caught its attention. It was my grandfather's journal, lying open on the floor where it had fallen from my pocket. The creature seemed transfixed by the journal, its glowing eyes fixed on its pages. It was then I understood. This creature, this horror, it wasn't hunting me. It was guarding something, protecting something. I looked down at the journal. Could the truth be hidden within its pages? The truth about this creature, about this house, about the family that had once lived here? The creature backed away, its eyes never leaving the journal. It moved with a strange grace, its claws clicking against the wooden floorboards. It reached the attic door, then paused, glancing back at me one last time. Then it was gone, vanished into the shadows as quickly as it had appeared. I was left alone in the attic, my heart pounding in my chest, the journal clutched tightly in my hand. I knew then that I had stumbled upon something ancient, something powerful, something that had been hidden away for centuries. The house on Benefit Street held a dark and terrible secret, a truth that had been buried for far too long. I left the house on Benefit Street a changed man, haunted by what I had seen, what I had learned. The truth about the creature, about the family, about the darkness that clung to that place. It was all there in my grandfather's journal. But some secrets are too terrible to uncover. Some truths are best left buried. The house on Benefit Street remains standing to this day, a silent sentinel guarding its secrets. A chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of our world. And I, Arthur Blackwood, am left to grapple with the weight of history, the echoes of terror whispering in my ears. The house on Benefit Street may be silent, but its secrets will forever haunt my dreams.